Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where we talk about mangas and sometimes books. As for today's video, I have the reading log for the month of April, but before we get started, I just want to apologize for not uploading recent videos, but the truth is I got really sick and I completely lost my voice for an entire week, so I decided to just not upload anything. I actually had a video already filmed, I just needed to edit the video, but I did not like how that video turned out, so I decided not to upload. So that's why I've been gone for a bit, but now I am back. One good thing that came out of me being sick was the fact that I had a lot of free time so that I could relax, and I ended up reading a lot of manga. So without any more further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start off with this pile right here, and then I'll move on to this one, which is an entire series. So let's start with the Otherworld books, Depend on the Bean Counter, Volume 5. This is the front cover. This is the back. And I've talked about this manga before, even that light novel. I really like this manga. This is ABL Fantasy. And in this volume, we continue to follow Seiichiro as he continues to investigate the church and all the money that goes into the church, and where the church is actually using the money for good reasons or for nefarious reasons. And yeah, so that's basically all that happens in this volume with the whole plot thing. But we also have the plot of Seiichiro and Areshi, who is the knight, which is happening right here. And there comes a moment where Arashi needs to go on a mission to deal with the black with the what is that, Masmia? Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, so Arashi has to go on this mission, and he leaves Seiichiro. The thing is, this mission is taking a little bit longer to be done with, and Seiichiro is actually really worried about Arashi, and that's where the whole romantic plot is starting to develop a lot more, because I feel like in this volume Seiichiro is actually realizing his feelings for Arashi, and he is not being as complicated as he was before. And you actually see how Seiichiro actually worries about Arashi, and how he is actually ready to admit that he has romantic feelings towards Arashi. His blush. Yeah, so I really like this manga. It's a good BL fantasy series. I really enjoy it, and I 100% recommend this BL series to anyone that wants to get into a fantasy heavy plot, romantic side plot. Yeah, I really like this volume. And next off, I read Be My Worst Nightmare. This is the first volume in a new series that it's getting published by who's Gem Press, and this is by Michelle. So this is the first volume. To be completely honest, I don't know how to feel about this story just yet. I feel like I need to get the second volume to form a better opinion on this. But so in this manga, we follow Sajo and Itsuki. Yeah, so this is Sayo. So this is Itsuki and Sayo, and as you can see, there is a huge height difference, and Sayo has a bit of a height complex. Like, he's really short, but he wants to be really tall, and you see him throughout the series drinking a ton of milk so that he can grow. But the thing is, Sajo gets rejected by his crush because of his height, and it's basically this guy got confessed to by his crush, and he rejected the girl because of her height, and then the girl goes and rejects him because of his height. So that's how they kind of sort of made their classmates, obviously, But then this happens where he's sleeping and he starts to feel that what's his name? Itsuki. He starts to feel like Itsuki is like right there with him and like doing that stuff. And yeah, so he starts to notice Itsuki a lot more, and he feels like there's something really complicated happening. But all of this, throughout this first volume, we kind of see how Itsuki is not actually hugging Sayo, but he's actually hugging this like black cat that is somehow connected to Sayo. And yeah, so that's what I understood from this first volume. Like, you can see it happening right here. But and yeah, they kind of start to get close in a friendship, romantic kind of way. This yeah, and then the cat gets taken away by the older brother of Itsuki, who is kind of jealous because Itsuki kind of has like everything, and now that Itsuki has a friend, the older brother doesn't want Itsuki to have friends. This story is all over the place, just like my explanation right now. So yeah, like I said, I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like I need to read a little bit more of the story to kind of understand the plot a lot better. But this first volume, I will give it that it was entertaining and really funny. But yeah, have you guys read this one? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And let's move on to one that I really enjoyed, and that is Dinosaur Sanctuary. This is the first volume. Here is the cover, the back, and I also read the volume 2 and the back. So in this story, we follow this girl who is Susume. So this is Susume. She is the daughter of like a scientist that did the whole research on dinosaurs, and so since she was a little girl, she's kind of like obsessed with dinosaurs. She wants to learn more about them, and she wants to help take care of them because here it is. She's gonna be a dino keeper. So because in this world, dinosaurs never really went extinct. They were hiding in like areas of the world that had never been explored. But now that they have been rediscovered again, they are now put in like zoos, so that you can go and like look at them and learn about them. So throughout this story, we follow Susume working at this zoo, like really tiny zoo that keeps dinosaurs, and they are kind of struggling to keep being open because they don't have as many visitors as they used to. And then in comes Susume, who she's really passionate about dinosaurs, but she feels like in a way she's really naive because she thinks that just by keeping a dinosaur healthy and like being friends with them, nothing bad is going to happen. But then there comes the realization that a dinosaur is still a wild animal, a really big wild animal, that there are still things being discovered by them. So not everything is going to be roses and cupcakes and rainbows. And that is explained to us in the second volume, where we learn that there was an accident that actually ended up hurting her father, because her father is dead and she's like, she doesn't have anyone with her, like no family members except her uncle, I think. And we also see right here that being a dinosaur keeper can actually be really dangerous. And yeah, this one is a really fun manga. It's really interesting. It's a slice of life type of manga where it's interesting and it's different because you follow dinosaur keepers, so that part is really interesting. One thing that I really like about this manga is the fact that towards the end of each chapter you kind of get this like footnotes on the investigation of dinosaurs, because this manga is co-created by so the story and art is by Itaro Kinoshita, and there's the research consultant, which is Seinichi Fujiwara, and all the notes that you get towards the end of each chapter are by Shiichi, and he basically tells you more information on the dinosaurs that were talked about in that specific chapter. So yeah, I really like this one. I love dinosaurs. One of my favorite movies is Jurassic Park. So if you just like me like dinosaurs and you like Jurassic Park and you want to like interact with dinosaurs in some sort of way, not realistic because I feel I'm going to get eaten, but yeah, I definitely recommend this one. This is a slice of life. Like I said, it's very fun. It's really cozy, but you also kind of get like a sight into how dangerous it is to be keeping dinosaurs in a zoo. So I really like this one. I do plan to continue the series, and yeah, let's move on to the only manhwa that I read in the month of April, and that was No Love Zone Volume 3. So in this third volume we continue to follow Ahyuk and Kyum. I'm 100% mispronouncing that. I'm so sorry. Let's just call him Kyum and Jaehyuk. So Kyum and Jaehyuk, we continue to follow their story, but now they are in some sort of relationship, which has not been talked about in a while, and that's the issue with them, because I feel like for Kyum they're just kind of like they're just like friends that do the dirty every once in a while, but for Jaehyuk, he kind of wants to start a relationship, and that's what this entire volume is actually about, where you see them to actually communicating for once, but it takes a while to get there, because when Kyum is actually ready to talk about his feelings for Jaehyuk gets sent away to work overseas, and he has to wait. Kyum has to wait for him to come back to actually talk about what is happening between them and what their relationship is actually like. We also see that Jaehyuk being really close and becoming really close with with Kyum's little siblings, because Kyum does have a grandmother, but she's like really old, and she helps Kyum take care of his younger siblings. And there's a moment where Jaehyuk helps Kyum take care of his siblings, and that entire like part of the manhwa is really cute. Hey, there's one right here. They are the twins are really cute. Like, I want to help take care of them as well. But yeah, other than that, there's a lot of explicit scenes in this entire series actually. But you do get to enjoy how the relationship is not starting to develop, because they have finally confessed their feelings for one another, and they are now in a relationship, and you get to see them be together, go out on dates, and being cute. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing more to say about this. If you like BL, if you like a story where there's like a second chance for one of them to be in a relationship, yeah, 100% recommend this. If you like comedy, also read it. The miscommunication lasted up to the 3rd volume, so not a lot, but yeah, here it is. And now let's talk about one that I really like. Let me go drink some water.
A few moments later.
Let's talk about Daisy Jealousy by Ogeretsu Tanaka. This is a one-shot BL, and before I get started, I want to say that this is my favorite one-shot that I've read this year. So let's talk about this one. This is in this story we follow Misaki and Kaname. So here is the inside, and so I swear I had like a whole thing I wanted to talk about this one, but my mind is going blank. So Misaki and Kaname are both, when the story starts, Misaki and Kaname are both in college, and they are learning how to create games. They each have a specific area where they are really good, and although Misaki's dream has been to become a game creator his entire life, he feels like he is the best at what he's doing. He because he has put a lot of time and effort in becoming the best. The thing is, when he meets Kaname, he realizes that Kaname is the one who's a lot better at this than he is. That's what he thinks, what Misaki thinks. But in truth is, both of them are really good. But Kaname and Mitsuki sort of develop a friendship because Kaname tends to be really cold, and he doesn't like to hang out with people from like their class and everything. But everything changes when Mitsuki and Kaname start to get together. But that friendship comes to an end when Mitsuki learns that Kaname has been recruited by one of his favorite gaming company. The gaming company he wanted to go into work after he graduated university. So because of that, their friendship, the friendship comes to an end. And there's a moment where Kaname kisses Mitsuki, which is this moment right here, and Mitsuki obviously feels like he is being made fun of by Kaname. But that's actually not the case, and we learn about this when they reunite years later at at the company Mitsuki is working at, because Kaname quit the company Mitsuki wanted to join to become a freelancer, and the company Mitsuki works at hires Kaname to go work with them, and that's how they reunite. And at first he's like, "Do you not remember me?" And Mitsuki's like, "Of course I remember you." And that's how, again, they start off, because they are now co-workers, but they develop a friendship that later Mitsuki learns that Kaname has had feelings for him since they were in college, and because of this, Mitsuki does something that he regrets. He regrets it later on, and that is that he starts a relationship with Kaname. The thing is, Mitsuki, throughout this entire time they are working together, he starts to feel a lot of jealousy, not because of Kaname, but towards Kaname. He feels that although these many years have passed and he has been working hard to become better at what he does, he still cannot reach Kaname's level of like artwork and like hard work, and I don't know how else to explain it, but he feels this deep jealousy within, and so he is struggling to pass all of this. But the thing is, Mitsuki gets together with Kaname so that he can, in a way, distract Kaname, so that Kaname's work can become bad in a way. So, and there's a moment of realization where Mitsuki realizes that what he's done is actually not something that he ever wanted to do, because it goes against his beliefs. But he realizes that he did all of that unconsciously, and that he wanted Kaname to be heard. There's a part in this thing right here. This is a moment where Kaname was invited to go speak with one of Mitsuki's favorite artists, and this is how Mitsuki felt. And that's when he realizes that this manga is really, it's so good, it's so good. So this is when Mitsuki realizes that what he was doing to Kaname was not good, because his entire plan, he did not started dating Kaname because he had feelings for him. He did not start dating Kaname because he was attracted to him. He started dating Kaname so that by being with Kaname, he would be this sort of distraction to Kaname, and that way his work would be affected, and that way Mitsuki would be the better one at what they do, which is creating games. Years passed where we learned that Mitsuki actually quit his job because of how bad he felt after learning, like realizing everything he was doing was wrong. And so he quit his job, and now he's working at a convenience store, and they meet again, where there's a bit of shame on Mitsuki's part. But we also know that Kaname has never stopped liking Mitsuki, and that's where we see some character growth with Mitsuki, and realizing that although the way he started his relationship with Kaname was not the right way, he also realizes that this entire time, while his feelings of jealousy were taking the major part of his thoughts, he actually came to fall in love with Kaname. This is so good. He actually fell in love with Kaname throughout all of that, and not only because of that, but because when he was with Kaname, they had not only a romantic relationship, but they had a friendship. They worked in the same field, so they got to talk about not only the work but their hobbies and like their favorite artists, and there was like this big connection between both of them. And he realizes that that's not something he wanted to give up, and so he goes and confesses his feelings towards Kaname. And yeah, obviously I feel like I just told you guys the entire plot of the story, but there's so much feeling, there's so much to this manga that I feel like you need to read it to get your own conclusions. I really like this manga. Like, it's really short. I did wish that it had another volume, because like I said, Mitsuki takes a break from work. He quits his job for an entire year, and I wish we had a second volume where we explored that realization Mitsuki had when it comes to feeling jealous towards Kaname, and how Kaname was better than him, and how Kaname was better at his job, and how he felt that the art that Mitsuki did was less than what Kaname did. I feel like if we had a second volume where we explored all of that feeling of jealousy with Mitsuki, and how he came to overcome that feeling specifically, and how it was hard for him to quit a job that he obviously loved, he obviously felt a lot of passion towards. I wish we could have had a second volume exploring all of that, but this is enough. Yeah, if we couldn't have it, it's fine. I really like this manga. I 100% recommend Daisy Jealousy if you want a BL that is more that goes and explores a bit more than just the romance. because there is jealousy, but it's not like I'm jealous that you talk to other people. Is jealous of that feeling of being less than the person you're going out with. I love this manga. 100% recommended. One of my favorite mangas of this year. One shots, actually, because it is a one shot. And if you, I really like this manga. Go read it. If there's one BL that you should read, is Daisy Jealousy. Okay, let's move on to this one. I checked the recording and I talked about Daisy Jealousy for like 10 minutes. I could go on and on. Yeah, but we are not. We are actually going to move on to this one, which is a completed series. And I think I talked about this in one of my past videos, and that is the fact that at the beginning of the year, I did a whole list of all the mangas that I wanted to read and complete this year, 2025. And one of those mangas is this one, which is My Love Mixed Up. The art is by Aruko and the story is by Wataru Hinekure. So this is the first volume. The second one. This is a manga series that is completed with 9 volumes. It's a shoujo. It's a shoujo school life slice of life manga. It has a lot of comedy. The amount of times I was cackling the entire time I was reading this series, and it has become one of my favorite series that I've read this year, without a doubt. The 8th volume, the back, and the 9th and last volume, and the back. So what is My Love Mixed Up about? We follow 4 high schoolers, which are these 4 right here, and the story starts with, like the title says, a mixed up. So in this first volume, we learn that, do you guys know, I already forgot the characters' names. So this is Akun is what he calls him. Aoki has a crush. Aoki has a crush on this girl, which, let's call her Momo, I think is one of her nicknames. So Aoki has a crush on Momo, and one day they're taking an exam, and like Aoki doesn't have an eraser, and he obviously needs one, and so he asks his friend Akun, who is this guy right here. He's like, hey, do you have an eraser? He's like, no way, I only got one. No, he's like, no. And so Momo Hashimoto lets him borrow her eraser, and he's like the happiest because, like I said, he has a crush on her. And then he decides to open the eraser, like remove the little cover of the eraser, and there's a name on it, and it's Ida with a little heart. And I guess this is like a tradition everyone does when they write the name of their crush with a little heart. And that's where we learn that Hashimoto has a crush on this guy, who is Ida. And by mistake, Aoki drops the eraser, and Ida says that it has his name with a little heart. And so Aoki is like, oh my god, hopefully he did not see that because this is not mine. So hopefully there's no misunderstanding. But Ida obviously sees this, and he's like, hey, so was that your eraser? And Aoki, he's such a good boy. Aoki doesn't want Ida to learn about Hashimoto's feelings because of him, so he decides to say that yes, that is his eraser. And Ida's like, oh, okay. But later on, although he seems calm, he starts to freak out because he's like, I don't know how to answer to those feelings. I don't want to be rude or like make Aoki feel uncomfortable, but I don't know how to react to those feelings. So he's like the entire day he's trying to figure out a way to reject Aoki in a nice way. And that's the whole misunderstanding, where Aida thinks Aoki has feelings for no. Even I got mixed up. That's the entire plot of the story, where Aida thinks Aoki has feelings for him, and Aoki thinks Hashimoto has feelings for Aida. But towards the end of this volume, we learn that Hashimoto actually doesn't like Aida. Who Aida is this guy? She actually likes someone else. She likes Akun. Do you guys know do you guys remember who Akun is? That's Akun. This entire manga is so funny. So the A had actually been erased because of how much she uses that eraser. So it went from Aida to Ida. It's confusing. Even I would have been confused. And that's where we learned that Aoki confesses feelings towards Aida for no actual reason, because she doesn't like him. And that's where we see how, although Aida rejected Aoki, they start to develop this friendship, because Aida has a problem, which is that he is not really good at like processing his feelings. He has never liked someone in a romantic aspect, and he kind of wants to try and see if it could happen with Aoki. But then Aoki confesses to Akun, who is this guy, his friend, who Hashimoto has a crush on, that everything was like a mixed up between Aoki and Ida, because he doesn't want things to be like weird between them. And yeah, it's a really good manga. It explores the coming of age, the learning about yourself and who you truly are and what you're comfortable with, and like actually learning how to deal with your personal feelings, the feelings of others, not putting too much pressure on yourself when you don't completely understand something, and like being understanding of others. And yeah, I really like this manga. I feel like it explored all of those topics really nicely, especially the aspect of what it's like to be in a same-sex relationship in Japan, because there is that whole aspect that although Aoki and Aida are trying to date, there's the whole thing where how others are going to look at them now that they're going out. And all of that happens in volume 3. Like the mix up happens, they get together and they start dating in volume 3. It's a really cute manga. It's really, the topics it explores are really good, and the way everything is handled, like I said, that aspect of being in the same sex relationship and how everyone else is going to react, it's explored in a respectful way. Because although it is a shoujo and it does have comedy, there is a moment where Aoki is on like cram school. He goes to cram school, and his teacher learns that he is in the same sexual relationship, and the way this teacher used to interact with Aoki before he learned that he was with another guy, it completely changes after he learns that he's going out with another guy. And you see how, although Aoki is really like carefree, he's a goofy guy, he pretends that nothing really matters to him, but that change in the attitude of the teacher that he really likes was something that hit him really hard. And we see how this teacher reacts to learning this about Aoki, but we also learn that although we also see Aoki explore those feelings that like being rejected by someone he was friends with and respected, but like I said, it is explored really respectfully, but it also has its comedy because the teacher kind of like they move on from that to the point where they later become friends. And there's also the thing with Akun, which is Aoki's best friend. So this guy also had like a bit of realization that when he learned that Aoki and what's his name Aoki and Ida are like kind of like going out, he kind of like has this reaction where he didn't react it in the best way, and he felt really bad because Aoki is one of his best friends, and he felt that the way he reacted was something a best friend shouldn't have reacted in that way. I hope I'm making sense. Anyways, I really like this manga. Again, this is one of my favorite series that I've read this year. It's a shoujo slice of life. It explores a lot of different topics, and it's a fun one. It's a fun manga. The way I was cackling the entire time, I'm telling you, it's really funny. My favorite volume in this entire series is the one where they go to like skate, which I think is the third volume when they actually get together. Yeah, this entire volume is one of my favorites. The way I was laughing the entire time I read this entire series, especially this third volume. I had so much fun reading this series. So yeah, if you like slice of life shoujo, comedy, romance, 100% recommend this one. And again, read this if you want to read a good BL. I love this one. So in this April, I discovered one new favorite one shot and one new favorite series. So with all of that being said, my voice is actually really tired, so I feel like I rambled a lot about my love mixed up but didn't say enough. But yeah, just go with the fact that this is one of my favorite series that I've read this year. And with that being said, we have reached the end of this video, and let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of the series, or if you plan to read any of the series I've recommended, especially this one. Have you read Daisy Jealousy? What did you think about it? Have you read My Love Mixed Up? What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, I will see you all later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video. And I will see you all later. Take care. Bye bye.